Now we are on to reading section or reading passage 1 of test 4, and we need to spend around 20 minutes in question 1 to 13. So let us read this passage, which is the life and work of Marie Curie, and then we will try to answer these question 1 to 13. So Marie Curie is probably the most famous woman scientist who has ever lived. Born Maria Sklodowska in Poland in 1867, she is famous for her work on radioactivity and was twice a winner of the Nobel Prize. With her husband Pierre Curie and Henry Becquerel, she was awarded in 1903 Nobel Prize for Physics and was then sole winner of the 1911 Nobel Prize for Chemistry. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. From childhood, Mary was remarkable for her prodigious memory and at the age of 16 won a gold medal on competition of her secondary education. Because her father lost his savings through bad investment, she then had to take work as a teacher. From her earnings, she was able to finance her sister Bronia's medical studies in Paris on the understanding that Bronia would in turn later help her to get an education. In 1891, this promise was fulfilled, and Mary went to Paris and began to study at the Sorbonne, the University of Paris. She often worked far into the night and lived on little more than bread and butter and tea. She came first in the examination in the physical sciences in 1893 and in 1894 was placed second in the examination in mathematical sciences. It was not until the spring of that year that she was introduced to Pierre Curie. Their marriage in 1895 marked the start of a partnership that was soon to achieve results of world significance. Following Henry Becquerel's discovery in 1896 of new phenomena, which Mary later called radioactivity, Marie Curie decided to find out if the radioactivity discovered in uranium was to be found in other elements. She discovered that this was true for thorium also. During her turning her attention to minerals, she found her interest drawn to pitchblende, a mineral whose radioactivity, superior to that of pure uranium, could be explained only by the presence of the ore of small quantities of an unknown substance of very high activity. Pierre Curie joined her in the work that she had undertaken to resolve this problem, and that led to the discovery of new elements, polonium and radium. While Pierre Curie devoted himself uh, chiefly to the physical study of new radiations, Marie Curie struggled to obtain pure radium in the metallic state. This was achieved with the help of the chemist André Louis Debienne, one of Pierre Curie's pupils. Based on the research of this research, Marie Curie received her doctorate in science, and in 1903, Marie and Pierre shared with Becquerel the Nobel Prize for Physics for the discovery of radioactivity. The births of Marie's two daughters, Irene and Eve, in 1897 and 1904, failed to interrupt her scientific work. She was appointed lecturer in physics at the École Normale Supérieure for Girls in Seville, France 1900, and introduced a method of teaching based on experimental demonstrations. In December 1904, she was appointed chief assistant in the laboratory directed by Pierre Curie. The sudden death of her husband in 1906 was a bitter blow to Marie Curie, but was also a turning point in her career. Henceforth, she was to devote all her energy to completing alone the scientific work that they had undertaken. On May 30, 1906, she was appointed to the professorship that had been left vacant on her husband's death, becoming the first woman to teach at the Sorbonne. In 1911, she was awarded the Nobel Prize for Chemistry for the isolation of pure form of radium. During World War I, Marie Curie, with the help of her daughter Irene, devoted herself to the development of the use of X radiography, including the mobile units which came to be known as Little Curies. used for treatment of wounded soldiers. In 1918, the Radium Institute, whose staff Irene has joined, began to operate in earnest and became a center for nuclear physics and chemistry. Marie Curie, now at the highest point of her fame, and from 1922, a member of the Academy of Medicine, researched the chemistry of radioactive substances and their medical applications. In 1921, accompanied by her two daughters, Marie Curie made a triumphant journey to the United States to raise funds for research on radium. Women then presented her with a gram of radium for her campaign. Marie also gave lectures in Belgium, Brazil, Spain, and Czechoslovakia, and in addition had the satisfaction of seeing the development of Curie Foundation in Paris and the inauguration in 1932 in Warsaw of the Radium Institute, where her sister Bronia became director. One of Marie Curie's outstanding achievement was to have understood the need to accumulate intense radioactive sources, not only to treat illness but also to maintain an abundant supply for research. The existence in Paris at the Radium Institute of a stock of 1.5 grams of radium made a decisive contribution to the success of experiments undertaken in the years around 1930. This work prepared the way for the discovery of the neutron by Sir James Chadwick, and above all for the discovery in 1934 by Irene and Frederick Joliot Curie of artificial radioactivity. A few months after this discovery, Marie Curie died as a result of leukemia caused by exposure to radiation. She had often carried a test tube containing radioactive isotopes in her pocket, remarking on the pretty blue-green light they gave off. Her contribution to physics had been immense not only in her own work, the importance of which had been demonstrated by her two Nobel Prizes, but because of her influence on subsequent generations of nuclear physicists and chemists. So this was about Marie Curie, the giant and the well-known physicist, as well as she got Nobel in chemistry also. So let us try to answer these queries. 1 to 6. You have to say true if the statement agrees with the information. You have to say false if the statement contradicts with the information. And you have to say not given if there is no information on this. First one. Marie Curie's husband was a joint winner of both Marie's Nobel Prizes. Marie Curie's husband was joint winner of both Marie's Nobel Prizes. This is false. Only one, in joint manner, they won only once. Other award was Marie Curie's herself. Individual award means. Second, Marie became interested in science when she was a child. This is actually not given. This is not given. Though we can extract that this is true because she was a kind of scientist only, physicist, but and she was good at studies also in her earlier age. But still, it is not being given, so we cannot just say true or false. Third, Mary was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. Mary was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. Third is true. Very true. Mary stopped doing research for several years when her children were born. No, this is false. It was given that, the birth of Mary's two daughters, Irene and Eve, in these years failed to interrupt her scientific work. So this is false. Fifth, Mary took over the teaching position her husband had held. Fifth is true. The first woman to teach in Sorbonne professorship. Then sixth is Mary's sister Bronia studied the medical uses of radioactivity. Sixth, this is not given. This is not given. NG you will write. Then we come to question 7 to 13. Complete the notes below. Choose one word from the passage. So we'll use just one word, employ just one word, 7 to 13. Marie Curie's research on radioactivity. When uranium was discovered to be radioactive, Marie Curie found that the element called thorium, thorium, had the same property. Then Marie and Pierre Curie's research into the radioactivity of the mineral known as pitchblende led to the discovery of two new elements. In 1911, Marie Curie received recognition for her work on the element which is radium. Marie and Irene Curie developed X-radiography, which was used as a medical technique for soldiers, wounded soldiers. Marie Curie saw the importance of collecting radioactive material both for research and for cases of illness. The radioactive material stocked in Paris contributed to the discoveries in the 1930s of the neutron and what was known as artificial radioactivity. In 30, during her research, Marie Curie was exposed to radiation, and as a result, she suffered from leukemia, Leukemia, or Leukaemia. So this was passage 1, reading test 4, IELTS 9 student book. Thank you so much. Take care.